All right, we're back. Thank you guys for watching that break. We're just waiting for, I think, Hush to come back from the bathroom. He went to the toilet while we were during that break. Thank you as well to Dire Turtle. I love that name. Just cheered us for 250 bits. It's always nice to see. Thank you very much. Did you see the cheer motes they're coming out with?
No.
I really hope they'll let us customize this, but they've put out 3 sets of emotes. You've got the Swift Rage, Kappa, and Kriegasm. And like if you cheer with them, it will animate the emotes in little ways, and obviously the more you cheer, like the bigger the bits, the different the animation is. And the Kriegasm one, if you donate like 10,000 bits of the Kriegasm one, you go into like a rainbow black hole of Kriegasms. It's amazing. You guys need to look at the new Twitch emotes that are coming out for cheering. They actually look super cool. The Swift Rage one goes like Super Saiyan, like flames erupt out of his head and everything.
Good deal.
I think the Kappa one just ends up flashing rainbows and gets sunglasses or something. It's not that interesting, to be honest, but the other ones are really cool.
Okay.
But all right, I have to change the title of the screen or stream. Super versus Hush. We are now in a PvP. What? The winner of this will fight against the winner of Sue and Solar, so a guaranteed PvZ finals. I love that today started off with us watching Terran and only Terran, and then some more Terran, but then ends in a ZVP.
Amazing.
Life's funny like that sometimes. Anyways, game number 1 here in the semifinals for the Make Korea Great Again tournament. Bottom right side of the map, we've got the pink Protoss, Zerg on the brain. It's Super. Does that mean I'm infested?
In the top left, the red Protoss, he is Hush. You know his name kind of fits the dust logo, because he could be blowing dust, but his fingers, if they just were like, you know,
Wait.
only one of them was up, he'd be like, Hush.
Is that blowing? I always thought it was sucking in the smoke.
I'm pretty sure he's like blowing it out.
It just kind of looks like a chubby guy sucking it up like it's noodles, though. You know, your cheeks are full of food.
I don't know anymore.
Oh man, it's like that optical illusion, that ballerina as it spins. Like, is it spinning left or is it spinning right? Is he sucking in or spinning out? What the hell?
I don't know.
But I always just
devil
assumed.
baby, anyways.
Well, that's a good question, but I always just assumed it was assumed, so we've never really talked about it.
You know how often we've had to talk about Dust's logo? About as often as we talked about the Western Wolves logo.
Oh wow.
It's a bear.
No, that was the Rocket logo.
Oh damn.
Your attempt at it was a failure. But okay, here's what we're gonna.
I think it made it better. Exactly what happened with the rocket logo.
Yeah, Zubber enhances things she touches. She doesn't tear it down. So it looks like the pylon skin is definitely something Super's using, by the way. I guess it's the little crown at the top that is the pylon skin. Because Hushes aren't bugged out in the production tab. So once again, if you guys are just watching for the first time today, it seems that custom skins are bugging out the overlay a little bit.
Oh my god, the pylon is so good looking. Like, why doesn't everyone use the pylon upgrade?
I mean, look at the difference, right?
I know, like, oh my god.
It's so regal, and I guess the side bits are a little bit thicker and cooler.
I just don't understand why people don't use all the upgraded structures and units. Like, the Overlord gets, like, hair, and then, you know, the Marauder gets, like, chunkier.
The Supply Depot gets magnets.
Oh my god, it gets like Comcast, like a radar dish. Oh my god, it's so amazing.
No, seriously, the Supply Depot just looks like it became a magnet that attracted any junk that was nearby to it, and it stuck. Like,
it does, yeah.
Anyways, openings are actually interesting because nobody went for Adepts. Now, there's some arguments to be said that Adepts still have a pretty interesting spot in the matchup, but it seems that it's just gotten to this point now where these two Stalkers getting on the map early are really good at catching said Adepts, excuse me. And with the Sonic Transfer having its vision reduced so heavily, it's just not worth it for scouting even. Awkward Probe gets to the base. If he had been able to get away with it, he may have been bold enough to do an overcharge pylon thing, but Stalkers aplenty. This catches it, and Super's not in any trouble.
Very slight differences in the openers, so okay, they're becoming a little more extreme. Super got 2 extra Stalkers a little bit faster, which really would not have been able to do very much unless he got some really good initial focus fire. And then he did add on 2 sentries as opposed to a faster Robo, which gives him a bit more of a, a micro potential. But of course, Hush is going to be able to get wall detection, observers out in the field for scouting, and Immortals a little bit faster. Here's the difference that we just don't seem to really be able to pin down, except stylistically, which is Super's Forge. This is probably one of the fastest forges I've seen in PvP, but they seriously differ from, like, apparently 3 minutes to 15 minutes is your first forge in PvP. Like, they've been so extreme, and I just don't know what exactly just makes people choose which one. If they do an Adept versus Adept game, apparently the +2 is a very important upgrade, but no one's really been doing anything besides Blinkstalker Disruptor for some months.
It is weird because it is pretty much like a line in the sand thing. It's not that like somebody gets to +2 first and they win because the other guy's a little bit behind. No, in almost every single instance, it's either +2 or nothing. Like there's a pretty harsh difference. I gotta bring this back though. Very important topic to me for the moment. Someone's trying to correct me in chat saying like when you suck in, your cheeks don't blow out. They concave, but I'm not saying that he's sucking in, guys. His cheeks are full of food. This is like a little chipmunk that's put all the nuts in his cheeks, right? So like you're still sucking in more while your cheeks are full.
I mean, the dust cloud can only be so big.
Yeah, but it doesn't look like I'm not saying that this is air. Like it looks like he's eating the cloud, like it's food or something.
But I'm saying the cloud wouldn't he's not eating that much. Like the cloud can't be much bigger than what he's already eaten.
Maybe the cloud's only that size because of how much he's already eaten.
You know, I would have believed you if the dust logo was kind of wrapped into his mouth, but that might have been too much for the artist.
Well, if the truth was that he's blowing it out, wouldn't the dust logo also be pushed off to the side and a little bit distorted on the right?
Oh my god.
I'm just saying, it looks like he's eating the cloud to me. I'm not
saying... Can we get a poll in chat? Can we
you know what's going to happen in that poll? It's going to be 50-50 like every fucking poll we ever run. It's like, I swear what people do is they look at the results page first before voting so they can vote just to even it out. That's what it feels like. But you know what? We are going to get a poll for this. This is a very important issue.
Well, there's something else happening. Apparently this is going to be... This has actually happened more often
looks so different now. What the hell?
Yeah. This has been happening more than any action-packed proxy versus proxy, dark tribers. Like, that's actually not been the way PvP has gone as far as we've seen it in the last couple of weeks. We've seen a decent amount, more than before, but just it's like 3 base, basically. Like 3 base, then maybe something interesting happens, but not even then. Like sometimes they just straight goes to 4 bases.
Yeah.
And the dynamic, interesting things in PvP right now aren't necessarily whoa, that micro is so cool, although it can be with a War Prism, but it's actually the builds differ slightly, and the upgrades are going to be important too later, and it is interesting, but it's not action-packed. So, for instance, Super's going Resident Glaives and a really fast Templar Archives.
Zombie, by the way, even though it was totally not at all necessary, we had another baller-ass donation coming from Root Shari Banai, a name I can't pronounce still. Another $49, upping their total donation to the prize pool today to $102, taking that top 3 spot, and raising the prize pool now to what is $6 away from $1,800.
Nice.
Thank you so much for your generosity. I guarantee you the players are going to appreciate it. We've been still slowly trying to explain to them what the prize pool is at, and Sue seems to be the only one who's comprehended it so far.
Well, this has been a pretty passive game up to the 3 bases. It's also been a game with much later disruptor tech. Well, I may be just a little confused with how fast I got the 3rd bases. I'm looking at the clock right now. It's actually not that long of a game, but we finally have a robotics bay and a second robot at the same time for Hush. But Super, like I said, he went for Resident Glaives and he went for Templar Archive, so he's going. He's not going for War Prism. Play that much.
Yeah.
That's a Archon, which I don't know, because it's so weird too. Because Super actually he doesn't even have that many adepts. It's what he invested into, but he still got mostly stalkers to start things off with.
So what's really important about this when it comes to the disruptor dynamic is the disruptors obviously have the range, but they don't have the damage. It'll one-shot most of what Protoss units are. Other disruptors, adepts, stalkers, these all die very quickly to an adept shot. But Archons can take a hit, so can Immortals. I don't know that I necessarily like what Super's doing. If this was paired up with like a Stargate being
Right?
thrown down right now, and he's actually planning to lift the disruptors of his opponent, then Super's army is so much better, especially with +3 upgrades. But the fact is, even if Hush only gets halfway decent hits, he's still going to remove so much of Super's army from the equation before he truly gets to fight.
Yeah. Super is just playing a super interesting game to me. It's why he's so super, I guess, because the mass adept thing, especially if you're very quick on the +2, like you just have the awesome upgrades and you go mass adept. We've seen games months ago when people were still doing that, where they would just overwhelm their opponent. They'd only catch them with 1 or 2 disruptors. They wouldn't get good enough shots, and then they'd die. But Super never got mass adepts. He still doesn't have mass adepts. He's really good at upgrades, but he's actually been much more focusing on the Archons. And I think 6 disruptors, 7 disruptors, sure, they take a while to kill Archons, but they're still going to kill Archons. Now he throws down double Stargate.
If it were
I don't
mass adept free, would that be the greatest game of all time?
Mass adept free. That took me a while. I thought you were going with I thought you were going for like the calorie free option,
Oh, okay. Well, we do have the Stargate startup. This is actually so important, but unfortunately, he's also possibly taking a fight before it's even close to go. And that's where I get really worried. Again, I want to really stress, guys, if Phoenix are swooping in on the backside and picking up those disruptors, Super has the better army. But the fact that they're not out yet, and the fact that he's forced to retreat before he even has a chance to think about fighting, Super's in a lot of trouble.
Mm-hmm. And his upgrades really won't matter. I mean, first of all, Hush is close behind on +2, but then second of all, I think Disruptors are going to be the key here, not how much his damage Stalkers can do. But we'll see what it looks like, especially if he goes to a concave. Like, the Disruptor shots miss, then of course everything we say is just totally null. Or they're not there in the first place, which is where the Phoenixes are coming out. But if 6 Disruptors, 8 Disruptors get decent shots, then I think Super's army is just, like, the worst army.
And that's a big part of this, by the way, why he's not... Like, Hush isn't going back to respond to these 2 Adepts, because I guess it's not worth it. He's just got such a good army, but here's some of those liftoffs. It's not even about killing the Disruptors, it's just about stopping the shots. He manages to dodge a couple. Army supply still better for Hush, and of course more Disruptors coming out.
What? That War Prism was like way far ahead of Super's army. That was super weird. But yeah, so Hush did not get the greatest Disruptor shots, but he has so many Disruptors, there's always the threat of that. So even if Super chases, he's going to bulk up, and he's got to retreat again.
Oh, Disruptor shots are... This is what I like about the spread from Super's army. It's really cool. The Zealots can obviously tank a lot of shots, but they deal a lot of damage too. That charge is adding a lot of value to this fight. I'm surprised Super's making it work, but he's pushing Hush back, and he's kicking ass while doing so.
Yeah, I mean, the Disruptors ended up on the front lines accidentally. The War Prism died, so they couldn't micro the Disruptors either. And this is where the Disruptors... Yeah, the Disruptors are so key to Hush's army. If they do not get the shots, then his army is actually terrible, because at that point, it's mass playing Stalker. But the point is the Disruptors are supposed to get some pretty decent shots. They just actually did not own up to their potential. And Super's army, chasing after it, was better. He's got more Phoenix on the way, too, so even though Hush is getting 2 Disruptors at a time, Super's getting 2 Phoenix at a time, they just have to lift them even once to break that attack, and they're super good.
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing. The Phoenix can kamikaze in and die for all you care. As long as they stop the shot from detonating, they've done their job. But Super lost a lot of his army momentum, and where he had a really fantastically large standing army before, now it's a bit awkward. The Archon count's still good. The charge lots are going to be great if they can connect. But the scary thing is, those Disruptors still sit in the back, waiting to detonate on the clumped up amount of charge lots on that front line.
Yeah, Hush being very careful this time. He did get surrounded. There's some very good positioning from Super in that last fight, too. And he's also making sure his Disruptors... The Phoenixes have to go through his Stalkers before he gets to the Disruptors. I was going to mention, he also got a Templar Archive. So if the Stalkers can't stop the Phoenixes from rolling in, at the very least, the feedbacks will. They just literally will not be able to pick up anything without energy.
Yeah, that would be awesome if you can make that happen like that. That's a really great amount of thinking, but there's still a lot of Phoenix to have to pick up in the first place. Hush has also bridged the gap on upgrades quite a bit while this has been going on, so now only behind by 1 upgrade. Missing tech, obviously, but charge aside for the moment, armor upgrades are coming out of Super. I'm surprised to see armor instead of shields, though, considering how heavy he is on Archons.
Yeah, that's a decent point. Well, the armies are still, apparently evenly matched depending on how the position is taken. As Super is forced to take positions around his fourth base though and automatically choke in his army, that's where the Phoenixes really need to do their job and pick up the disruptors. Oh,
Feedbacks are pretty nice, but there's still so many more. He picks up the disruptors,
wow,
like surgically
wow.
removing them from the fight. So many shots not going off. A couple do detonate there towards the end. And now, unfortunately, Super, without those charge slots to reinforce with, he's got 1,200 minerals in the bank. Where are those warp ins? Oh, up here, that's why.
Yep. Sent all of his charges to the north, and they're doing really good damage, getting an entire mineral line they weren't pulled. They're probably going to get the Nexus, maybe. Footstone Overtur's going to run out eventually, but I think Super just lost too much army on the front lines.
He's pulling back, too. I think he knows he needs to consolidate, but he's a little too far gone. This game has, without a doubt, run away in the favor of Hush, and the Disruptors, more than anything else, are, of course, dangerous, but the Stalker count's just so out of hand. Like, you can charge into the Stalkers all day, but they'll just blink back.
Yeah, they will. Yeah, the numbers are too absurd at this point. So, I mean, again, this is kind of how I expected it to go. But Super, despite getting a bit later to Phoenixes and charge lots, did showcase why that could still be a way to play.
Oh,
you don't have to just go Disruptor, Blink Stalker.
Hush, gonna take that first game in this series. You know, for us, it's different, right? Like, Hush may or may not be a good player, but the point is we know that Super is, because Super has won, not just one, not just two, but a couple of, like, more than a couple of events on BaseTradeTV. So for me to come into this, my brain defaulted like, oh, Super's going to do really well. It's an interesting style to play. It's a different style to play than what we've seen, but ultimately still proves just how powerful and how much more powerful I think Disruptors are in this matchup, in this instance.
Yeah.
By the way,
Whirlwind is gonna be the next map.
Okay, get into this in a sec. I was just gonna say, quick thanks to Physics. I saw the $49 donation, but I didn't realize he had actually donated $5. Virtual Remedy donated $5, and Mr. Boris Makarov also just donated $5. This brings our prize pool up to over $1,800 now. We were sitting at $17.99 when all the codes ran out, by the way. How unfair is that? Like, we ran out of the coupon codes at $17.99. That being said, $1,809 is now the prize pool available for these players. That is phenomenal.
Nice. Very nice.
I'm just gonna take a second to thank the people who gave us $12 today for me and Zombie Group. That's okay too. But the fact that players have this much money to play for, it's really cool. It's a Christmas gift, obviously. These guys are super stoked. We've tried to explain it to them. Sue knows what's up. But I'm really hoping that this shows them, like, hey, come play on the next tournament. It's not a guarantee it gets this high, but there's always a chance our tournaments hit like this. Back when we were doing Match Arena Cups, I'd say during the summer too, you'd have like 400, 300 here and there. Then all of a sudden there's that one with Hydra and we got like a $1,600 prize pool. Like, it's always nice to Match Arena, and the fans, when they want to get involved, they really get involved. Again, Gyokuroga, #1 spot. Messin shortly after with $100 below him. I mean, oh, well, fuck me. Messin just donated $91 as I'm speaking, so I don't even get to gush about the $1,800. I just pulled up my calculator to deal the math on that. Messin just donated $91, bringing the prize pool up to $1,900.
Dear God.
I hate to say it, but can we actually shoot for 2K? Is that a possibility? Between one more semifinal and the grand finals, are we able to raise another $100 for these players? I gotta ask, okay, what's 1,900 times 66%? $1,254 for first place in this tournament.
Jesus.
But I think the one number we're most interested in is, what is last place worth? What is 9% of this prize pool? And that's $171.
Yeah, I was gonna say close to 190.
Last place in this tournament is going to be like rivaling, maybe touching a Lima League money levels of godliness.
Godly.
But Messin, you crazy bastard, just donated another 100.
Oh my God.
Stealing,
there you go.
Stealing first place from Gyokuroga. And forget the numbers I just put in, guys, because $2,000 raised for today's prize pool. These players are this is the most. This has got to be a record for the most money for a weekly cup. Like, there's no way a one-off weekly cup has ever raised this much money in StarCraft 2. Can someone look into that? Can someone confirm that? Because that's so fucking awesome if that's the case. Pardon my French. I'm very excited. But let's get into game. It's map number 2 in the semifinals. There's another semifinals match and a grand final still behind this, so you guys are getting a lot of StarCraft today. In the top left, he's down 1 game. It's the pink Protoss Super.
In the bottom left is the red Protoss. He is Hush.
Hush taking a game 1 with what was far more regular play styling. Like, we expect Blink Stalkers and we expect Disruptors. After watching that PvP Yord tournament, I feel it's safe to say like that is just proven to be the best. And there was no real great changes to the Zealot, to the Archon, to the composition that we saw Super reach for. Nothing changed in the patch for those units. Nothing made them better or worse, and they were already not winning to this composition beforehand.
Zealot's got faster, didn't they?
Oh, you know what? You may have been right. I forgot about that one. The 3.8 change. A little bit of a tweak there, but still, I don't think it's enough to truly matter, if that makes sense.
Oh, yeah, yeah. I mean, it's something that I think you would have tried out the first week after the patch and been like, well, does this help this style, or doesn't it? And I assume it didn't really help it out that much. But, you know, it's not to say that Blink Stalker Disruptor is the only way to go. It does definitely seem the best, especially if you can appropriately react to any, like, timings or all-ins or cheeses or anything like that stop you from getting to 4, 6, 8 Disruptors. But I do like that Super really showed us that there's a potential.
All right, first off, thank you, APOC428, $5 donation coming. It says, ugh, caster begging. That wasn't meant to be begging. That was just a joke, guys. Like, it's at this point, I think Zombie and I both realized that actually, first and foremost during the best of 69, we always talk about money, and some people like it, some people hate it, whatever, I don't care. But during the best of 69, we raised like $4,700 something for Snoot and Bunny, and we brought in like a total of like less than 300 for the two of us. It's not too much different here. We're used to it at this point. It was just meant to be a bit of a silly throw off. Please don't misunderstand that. That was absolutely like, do what you want with your own money. Give more of it to the players even, I'd say. But holy crap, Hush, you ballsy bastard.
Okay. You know, I saw that probe going out and I was like, no way. Whirlwind, like,
I was thinking like maybe a proxy pylon, maybe some sort of warp in. I did not see the robo coming down with it though. And this fight at the front, oh, it's like a distraction. The probe comes in too. I think you want to put a pylon down for the mothership core.
Oh yeah, I did.
But again, yeah, this is almost like a sick mind game tactic. This is a distraction. This is a don't look up that ramp. Please don't find my immortal that's on deck. But
oh no, oh no, oh no, Super, oh no.
Wow, losing the mothership core is gonna sting. As he falls back, he's got a pylon with an overcharge he can go back to as well. I'm not sure if he wants to reveal the information, like what's more valuable to him, his stalkers living or the surprise elements.
Okay, now he's gonna be able to confirm. Okay, I think I actually kind of knew. That probe came very suspicious location, and he knew that Hush didn't spawn on the top right.
He pulls back.
Was it the only thing he knew? Okay, so I think you do have to give the Nexus. You know, it's pretty all in from Hush. It's to be expected. Can you hold the high ground, though? It's still gonna be difficult.
I like the double pylons coming in. It's gonna buy him time. But unfortunately, an Immortal and Stalker combination, like they're going to tear through that. There's only going to be one overcharge because let's not forget, he did pick off the mothership core. That was kind of massive. The overcharge goes through the Immortal barrier pretty quickly.
It does.
Oh, he's going to kill the pylon, building the Immortal. And it's getting the power 2 of the gateways. Stops the warp-ins. That's got to be it.
I think so. Hush. What a baller.
Hush is going to do a lot of damage. He's like, even if he gets cleaned up here, he's still going to bring the probe count down so low.
Yeah. If he didn't have any reinforcements, I think that actually is a
well,
not so bad, but he does.
Yeah, the Warp Prism even with this too. The pylon finally finishes up. Maybe the Immortal pops out, but it's a little too late. Even some Warp Prism cute micro being displayed here at the very end. The Immortal is going to spawn.
Zones maybe?
Left with 14 probes is not a great spot to be in. Now granted, there is a Nexus, and this is a pretty big advantage to have over Hush. But Hush has got the Warp Prism coming right back to that main, and these probes are ripe for the picking. No mothership core to defend them, no overcharge available. He's got to pull the probes away, which means he loses more mining on top of the already hurt income.
Very good.
Oh, the SimCity kind of working against Super. If Hush had realized that a little bit quicker, he may have actually been able to win the Stalker fight. Not the
Yeah,
immortal
this is
fight,
also
obviously, but
it's gonna scout and see that there's still no mothership core being made,
Adepts.
which means that his adepts are gonna be able to run right through those 2 pylons, no care. This is it's like super like good job for holding as long as he did, but still think it's gonna not end favorably.
I really love the idea of the
That's a good
adepts because
unit.
they can get through the
Yep.
barrier thing. Yeah. Probe's getting pulled. He needs to pull them too. That's what's so unfortunate. But I think the Immortal cannot deal with this. The Immortal gets lifted up to the high ground. Great moves out of Hush, and this Dust Gaming Korean player may not have been the top tier name on this tournament bracket list, but he's the one who's gonna go through to the finals with a 2-0. GG. Now this being said, what are we at? $2,000 now? Last place in this tournament at 9% of $2,000. That's $180. That's not bad. Super still walks away today with more money than most people win through like 2 or 3 tournaments.
Can't feel too bad.
Cannot feel too bad. We do have a fantastic ZVZ coming up. We're going to hope Solar's playing better than he was in IEM. Although he's going to be feeling real bad about the ZVZs coming up against because Sue is such a fantastic player. So we're going to go to commercial break. Thank you guys for watching. Do not disappear. We'll be back with more in the other semifinals shortly. Super versus Sue, or excuse me, Solar versus Sue. Maybe that was a prediction. Solar versus Sue. No, because he already lost. I'm messing this up real bad. Solar versus Sue. You guys want to get on this train wreck? Let me tell you, I'm a terrible conductor. Have I told you about that one time when I was